Your soulmate is calling, don't miss this sign, Part 1. You felt it again today, didn't you? That strange pause in the middle of your routine, that split second when everything around you seemed to slow down for no reason. You tried to ignore it. You told yourself it was just another random thought, just another emotional wave passing through. But it wasn't random, and deep down, you know that. Lately something has been shifting inside you. Not loudly, not dramatically, but subtly enough to make you question yourself. You've been thinking about love differently. Not the loud, chaotic kind that rushes in like a storm and leaves wreckage behind. Not the kind that confuses you more than it comforts you. This feels quieter, deeper, like a slow current pulling you toward something you can't see yet but somehow trust. You're not desperate. You're not chasing. But you are aware. Aware that someone, somewhere, feels closer than they used to. It's strange how you can miss someone you've never met, how you can long for a presence you can't name. You don't have their face in your mind. You don't know their voice. But there's a whisper in your chest telling you that your story isn't meant to be written alone. You've changed recently, and you can feel it. You don't react the same way to temporary attention anymore. Surface-level charm doesn't impress you like it used to. You're craving something real now, something steady, something that feels like coming home after a long journey. That shift didn't happen by accident. While you were growing, healing, questioning, and rebuilding yourself, someone else was doing the same. Somewhere out there, another soul has been walking through their own lessons, their own heartbreaks, their own nights of wondering why nothing seems to last. They've been learning patience. They've been learning self-worth. They've been learning what love actually means instead of what it looks like from the outside. And somehow, without either of you realizing it, the timing is aligning. Have you noticed the signs? The repeated numbers that catch your eye. The dreams that feel too vivid to dismiss. The sudden urge to let go of people who once felt important. The sense that you're being prepared for something significant. It's not coincidence. When two people are meant to meet in a way that changes their lives, the universe doesn't rush it. It prepares them separately, quietly, carefully. And preparation often feels lonely. Maybe that's why you've been feeling this strange mix of peace and restlessness at the same time. You're okay on your own. You've learned how to stand by yourself. But there's an inner knowing that your independence isn't meant to turn into permanent isolation. You're not waiting for someone to complete you. You're waiting for someone to recognize you. There's a difference. Think about who you were a year ago, even 6 months ago. You've shed layers. You've outgrown situations that once felt permanent. Conversations that used to excite you now feel empty. People who once had easy access to your energy don't anymore. You didn't lose them. You leveled up. And when you level up emotionally, spiritually, mentally, your frequency changes. The things that once matched you no longer do. But here's what you haven't fully realized yet: when your frequency changes, you don't just lose mismatched connections. You start attracting aligned ones. That pull you feel isn't desperation. It's resonance. Somewhere, someone is feeling a similar shift. They might not know your name. They might not know your face, but they feel like something good is coming into their life. They feel like peace is closer than it used to be. And they don't realize it yet, but that feeling is connected to you. Energy recognizes energy before eyes ever meet. When you finally cross paths, it might happen in the most ordinary way. A random introduction. A simple message. A moment that doesn't seem dramatic at first. In fact, it might feel surprisingly calm. That's because soulmate energy doesn't explode. It settles. It feels familiar in a way that doesn't make logical sense, like you're continuing a conversation that started long before this lifetime. There won't be constant confusion. There won't be anxiety about where you stand. There won't be the exhausting guessing games. It will feel steady. And that steadiness might scare you at first because you're used to intensity. You're used to sparks that burn too fast and leave you wondering what happened. You're used to emotional highs followed by emotional crashes. But this won't feel like a roller coaster. It will feel like peace, and peace can feel unfamiliar when you've only known chaos disguised as passion. You might question it at first. You might wait for something to go wrong. You might hold back just a little, expecting the usual pattern to repeat. But it won't. Because this connection isn't here to teach you pain. It's here to teach you stability. It's here to show you what it feels like to be chosen without confusion, to be valued without conditions, to be understood without having to over-explain yourself. And the reason it's getting closer now is because you're finally ready to receive it. Not the old version of you that tolerated mixed signals. Not the version of you that confused attention with affection. The current you. The aware you. The healed in progress you. Your soulmate is calling, not through a phone, not through a message, but through alignment. Through growth. Through the quiet preparation happening in both of your lives at the same time. The sign isn't outside of you. It's inside you. It's the calm confidence growing in your chest. It's the standards you're no longer willing to lower. It's the loneliness that doesn't feel desperate anymore but purposeful. You're not behind. You're not late. You're being positioned. Every delay, every almost relationship, every lesson that felt unfair was shaping you into someone who can recognize real love when it finally stands in front of you. And the most beautiful part is this: you won't have to chase it. You won't have to force it. You won't have to convince it to stay. Because what is truly aligned with you doesn't require performance. It requires presence. So if you've been feeling that quiet pull lately, that sense that something meaningful is approaching, don't dismiss it. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't shrink your expectations to make temporary connections fit. Your soulmate is closer than you think, and the sign you've been asking for isn't a dramatic event. It's this shift. This awareness. This deep, unshakable feeling that your love story hasn't even begun to peak yet. And when it finally starts, it won't feel like fireworks in the sky. It will feel like a deep exhale you didn't realize you'd been holding for years. This is just the beginning, and maybe that's what scares you the most. Not the idea of love, but the idea of a love that actually stays. Because you've learned how to survive disappointment. You've learned how to rebuild after silence. You've learned how to act unbothered when someone slowly pulls away. But you haven't fully experienced what it feels like when someone leans in and doesn't leave. That kind of consistency can feel unfamiliar, almost suspicious, when your past has trained you to expect instability. So when this new energy starts entering your life, you might question it. You might wonder if it's too calm, too easy, too natural. But soulmate energy isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't try to impress you with grand gestures in the beginning. It simply feels right. Conversations will flow without force. Silence won't feel awkward. Eye contact will feel grounding instead of overwhelming. You won't feel like you have to perform a version of yourself to keep their interest. You'll just be you, and that will be enough. Right now, before they physically enter your life, the preparation is happening internally. You're learning boundaries. You're understanding your own emotional triggers. You're becoming more honest with yourself about what you want and what you refuse to tolerate. That honesty is powerful. It filters out what isn't meant for you. It protects your energy from distractions that would only delay your alignment. And while it may feel lonely at times, that loneliness is not punishment. It's refinement. You are being refined into someone who can hold a love that is healthy, mutual, and stable. Not obsessive. Not chaotic. Not one-sided. Balanced. Equal. Safe. Think about the patterns you used to repeat. The type of people you used to attract. The excuses you used to make for behavior that didn't sit right with your spirit. You don't do that anymore. Even if you try to convince yourself sometimes, your intuition is louder now. You can sense inconsistency quickly. You can feel when something isn't aligned. That awareness is growth. And growth shifts timelines. The moment you stopped accepting less than you deserve, the universe adjusted your path. It redirected you. It cleared space. And sometimes clearing space feels like loss before it feels like gain. But what left had to leave. It wasn't built to stay in the version of your life you're stepping into. Your soulmate isn't looking for the old you. They're aligned with who you are becoming. That's why timing matters. If you had met too early, you might not have recognized each other. You might have missed it. You might have sabotaged it without realizing. But now? Now you're softer in the right ways and stronger where it counts. You're no longer trying to prove your worth. You know it. And that quiet confidence is magnetic. Somewhere, they are feeling that pull too. They might not understand it yet. They might just feel an urge to work on themselves, to clean up old habits, to release past attachments. They might feel a sudden desire for something real after years of entertaining what was easy. That's alignment happening on both sides. When you finally meet, it won't feel rushed. It won't feel forced. There will be a natural pace, like both of you unconsciously understand that this is something to be handled with care. You won't feel the need to rush labels. You won't feel anxious about defining everything immediately. The connection itself will be enough. And that's how you'll know. No constant overthinking. No analyzing every text message. No wondering where you stand. You'll feel it in the way they show up consistently. In the way they remember small details about you. In the way they listen, not just to respond, but to understand. It won't be perfect, because nothing real is perfect. But it will be intentional. And intention changes everything. Right now, the sign isn't a person standing in front of you. It's the transformation within you. It's the way you're no longer entertained by breadcrumbs. It's the way you walk away faster from confusion. It's the way your standards have quietly risen without you even announcing it. That's the call. That's the signal. Your soulmate is not attracted to desperation. They're attracted to self-respect. They're drawn to the version of you that knows how to be alone without feeling incomplete. Because when two whole people come together, the connection multiplies instead of drains. There will be a moment, maybe soon, where everything clicks. A simple interaction that feels heavier than it should in the best way. A conversation that lingers in your mind longer than usual. You might try to play it cool. You might tell yourself not to get attached too quickly. But attachment won't be built on fantasy this time. It will be built on consistency. On repeated actions. On steady effort. And that's different. You'll notice that you feel calmer around them. More grounded. More yourself. That's not coincidence. That's recognition. Souls recognizing familiarity beyond logic. Don't ignore the subtle changes happening in your life right now. The sudden clarity about what you deserve. The distance forming between you and people who once held space in your world. The inner peace growing stronger than your fear of being alone. These are not random shifts. They are preparation. The call isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's in the way you feel less interested in temporary thrills and more interested in meaningful depth. It's in the way you've stopped chasing validation and started protecting your peace. That energy doesn't go unnoticed. It travels. It attracts. It aligns. Your soulmate is calling not through noise, but through alignment. Through timing that finally makes sense. Through growth that happens separately but simultaneously. And when it unfolds, you'll realize something important. You weren't waiting for them. You were becoming ready for them. Every delay had purpose. Every heartbreak had a lesson. Every almost love was clearing space for the one that won't almost choose you. So stay patient. Stay open. Keep evolving. Because the sign you've been asking for isn't coming with fireworks. It's coming with calm certainty. And when it arrives, it won't feel like chaos. It will feel like home, and here's the part you're not fully admitting to yourself yet: you don't want just love anymore. You want depth. You want the kind of connection that feels like two minds meeting before two hands ever touch. You want someone who sees through your silence, who understands the meaning behind your pauses, who notices the shift in your tone before you even say, "I'm fine." You're no longer impressed by attention. You're impressed by effort. You're no longer moved by sweet words. You're moved by consistent actions. That shift inside you? That's not random growth. That's preparation. Because the version of you that used to accept confusion would never be able to hold the clarity that's coming. The old you might have mistaken intensity for destiny. The new you understands that real destiny feels stable. It doesn't feel like anxiety. It doesn't feel like guessing games. It doesn't feel like constantly checking your phone, wondering if you matter. Real alignment feels secure before it's even defined. Right now, you might still be in a phase where nothing obvious is happening. No dramatic entrance. No cinematic moment. Just life moving as usual. But beneath the surface, things are rearranging. Your circle is shifting. Your mindset is maturing. Your tolerance for nonsense is shrinking. And that's not loneliness. That's elevation. When you elevate, you naturally outgrow environments that were built for a previous version of you. You can't carry old attachments into new timelines. That's why some connections faded. That's why certain conversations ended without closure. That's why people who once felt permanent suddenly felt temporary. It wasn't rejection. It was redirection. Your soulmate isn't aligned with the spaces you used to settle in. They're aligned with where you're going next. There's also something happening in your heart that you haven't spoken about. You've become softer, but not weaker. You've become more open, but not naive. You've learned to forgive without forgetting your standards. That balance is powerful. It means you're no longer operating from wounds. You're operating from wisdom. And wisdom attracts differently than pain does. When you were operating from hurt, you attracted lessons. Now that you're operating from clarity, you attract alignment. That's why the energy around you feels different. You might not see it yet, but people can feel it. You carry yourself differently. You speak differently. You react differently. You don't chase conversations that feel forced. You don't beg for reassurance that should come naturally. You observe. You evaluate. You move accordingly. That self-respect is the loudest signal you could possibly send to the universe. Somewhere, in a completely different place, your soulmate is going through their own awakening. They're recognizing their patterns too. They're letting go of distractions too. They're feeling that same quiet dissatisfaction with shallow connections. They might not call it a spiritual shift. They might not even have the language for it. But they feel it. The sense that something meaningful is approaching. The urge to get serious about their growth. The desire to be emotionally available instead of emotionally guarded. That's not coincidence. That's synchronization. Two lives evolving at the same pace without direct contact. That's how alignment works. It doesn't need constant communication. It operates on timing. When your paths finally cross, it won't feel like a loud explosion. It will feel like recognition. Like your nervous system relaxing instead of tensing up. You won't feel the need to impress them. You won't feel smaller around them. You won't feel like you have to shrink your personality to keep them comfortable. You'll feel expanded. Safe. Understood. The conversations will feel easy but meaningful. The laughter will feel natural, not forced. And even disagreements, because real connections have those too, will feel respectful instead of threatening. That's how you'll know it's different. There won't be emotional chaos disguised as passion. There will be clarity disguised as calm. Right now, the biggest sign isn't outside of you. It's the way you've stopped romanticizing potential. You used to fall for what someone could be. Now you pay attention to who they actually are. You used to hold on to promises. Now you watch patterns. You used to confuse attention with affection. Now you understand that affection is consistent. That growth didn't happen overnight. It came from disappointment. From nights of overthinking. From moments where you realized you deserved better but weren't sure how to get it. And slowly, you chose yourself. Over and over again. That choice changed your frequency. And frequency determines what you attract. There will be a moment soon where you feel it more strongly than ever. A conversation that lingers in your mind long after it ends. A look that feels deeper than it should. A presence that feels grounding instead of overwhelming. And you might try to downplay it at first. You might tell yourself not to get ahead of your feelings. But your intuition will be calm, not frantic. That's the difference. Anxiety screams. Alignment whispers. If it feels peaceful instead of urgent, pay attention. If it feels steady instead of intense, don't run from it. Your past taught you to associate love with adrenaline. Your future is about to teach you that love feels like stability. You are not behind in life. You are not late. You are not missing out. You are being prepared. Every delay protected you from connections that would have drained you. Every heartbreak built emotional muscle. Every time you chose to walk away instead of settle, you strengthened your standards. And standards are not walls. They are filters. They ensure that when the right person enters your life, they recognize your value instead of testing it. Your soulmate isn't coming to complete you. They're coming to complement you. They're not here to fix you. They're here to grow with you. And growth requires readiness. So if you've been feeling that subtle anticipation lately, don't ignore it. If you've been sensing that your love story is about to shift into something more meaningful, trust that instinct. The call isn't dramatic. It's quiet alignment. It's two hearts being shaped separately so they can meet without destroying each other. It's two individuals learning self-love so they can offer real love. And when it finally unfolds, you'll realize something powerful. You weren't searching for them. You were becoming the version of yourself that could recognize them. That's why this season feels different. That's why your patience feels stronger. That's why your loneliness feels less heavy and more purposeful. Your soulmate is calling, not through noise, not through chaos, but through growth. Through the standards you refuse to lower. Through the peace you refuse to sacrifice. Through the maturity you worked so hard to build. And when they finally stand in front of you, it won't feel like a fairy tale fantasy. It will feel like truth. Like relief. Like finally understanding why nothing else ever worked out. This is only the beginning. And the most beautiful part? You're ready now, and now you're standing at the edge of something you can't fully see yet, but you can feel it. That quiet shift in your chest. That calm confidence growing without permission. You're not the same person who used to beg the universe for love. You're not the same person who used to chase closure from people who never intended to give it. You've changed in ways that don't need announcements. Your silence is wiser. Your presence is stronger. Your energy is cleaner. And that's exactly why this is the final stage before everything aligns. Because the last step before meeting the right person isn't finding them. It's fully finding yourself. There was a time when you thought love would rescue you from loneliness. Now you understand that loneliness was teaching you how to enjoy your own company. There was a time when you thought being chosen meant being worthy. Now you know your worth doesn't fluctuate based on someone else's attention. That realization alone shifted your entire frequency. You stopped trying to fit into spaces that required you to shrink. You stopped over-explaining your boundaries. You stopped apologizing for expecting consistency. And without realizing it, you stepped into a new timeline. One where love isn't chaotic. One where connection isn't confusing. One where effort isn't one-sided, the final sign isn't fireworks. It isn't a dramatic confession or a random miracle. The final sign is your peace. The way you no longer panic when someone pulls away. The way you no longer feel threatened by silence. The way you trust that what's meant for you will not require constant pursuit. That trust is magnetic. It creates space for something stable to enter. Because desperation blocks alignment. But calm certainty invites it in. And you're finally operating from certainty. Not ego. Not fear. Not fantasy. Certainty. Your soulmate is closer than you realize, but closeness isn't always physical distance. It's vibrational alignment. It's timing syncing up. It's two people reaching emotional maturity at the same moment. Somewhere right now, they are reflecting on their past too. They are recognizing what they tolerated. They are admitting what they did wrong. They are deciding to do better next time. And that, next time, is you. They don't know your name yet. They don't know your story. But energetically, they are preparing to meet someone who values honesty, depth, and loyalty. They are preparing to meet someone like you. When it finally happens, it won't feel rushed. It won't feel forced. It won't feel like you're trying to prove yourself. You won't feel the urge to impress them with a perfect version of who you are. You'll feel comfortable being flawed. You'll feel safe being real. And safety is the real flex. Safety is what allows love to grow instead of burn out. You'll notice the difference immediately. There won't be mind games. There won't be strategic delays in replies. There won't be confusion disguised as mystery. There will be clarity. There will be directness. There will be mutual effort. And that mutual effort will feel almost unreal at first because you're not used to it. You might test it without realizing. You might wait for inconsistency. You might prepare yourself for disappointment out of habit. But it won't come. Because this connection isn't here to teach you another lesson. It's here to build something lasting. And lasting things are built slowly. Brick by brick. Conversation by conversation. Choice by choice. You will choose each other, not once, but repeatedly. That's what makes it different. Not intensity. not obsession. Choice. Right now, before that physical meeting happens, your job is simple. Maintain your standards. Protect your peace. Continue evolving. Don't lower your expectations just because you feel impatient. Don't entertain distractions that feel empty just to avoid solitude. Solitude is not your enemy. It's your final preparation stage. It's where you solidify your boundaries. It's where you deepen your self-awareness. It's where you become emotionally independent enough to love without clinging. And emotionally independent love is powerful. It's not controlling. It's not suffocating. It's supportive. It's freeing. It allows both people to grow without fear of abandonment. This last phase might feel quiet. Almost too quiet. But quiet seasons are sacred. They are where alignment locks into place. Think about how far you've come. The patterns you broke. The conversations you walked away from. The nights you chose dignity over desperation. That wasn't easy. But it was necessary. Because your soulmate doesn't align with the version of you that tolerated confusion. They align with the version of you that demands clarity. They align with your self-respect. With your emotional intelligence. With your depth. And here's something important. When they arrive, it won't complete your life. It will complement it. You will still have your goals. Your individuality. Your independence. But you'll have someone who supports it instead of competing with it. Someone who celebrates your growth instead of feeling threatened by it. Someone who communicates instead of withdrawing. Someone who listens instead of dismissing. That's the difference between karmic connections and soulmate alignment. One teaches through pain. The other builds through partnership. You are not unlucky in love. You were just early in your lessons. Now you are late in your preparation and early in your alignment. That's a powerful place to be. Because when alignment meets readiness, things move quickly but naturally. You won't have to force conversations. You won't have to decode mixed signals. You won't have to beg for time or